Canli study. The aim of this study is to show that emotive images will be remembered more than those that have little emotional impact on an individual. This is a one-tailed directional hypothesis, stating that the amygdala activation affects the moment-to-moment subjective emotional experience, and that activation enhances memory in relation to the emotional intensity of an experience. The participants in this study are 10 healthy right-handed females who were chosen through this study through a volunteer sample. We have Kaylee, Mariah, Isabella, Isabella's sister, Harley Quinn, Belle from Beauty and the Beast, Princess Leia, Daenerys Targaryen, Dr. Sugarman, and Daisy. The only ethical issues raised in this entire study was that the participants were not aware that there was going to be a memory test that they were going to be required to take 3 weeks later. This is going to be the MRI we are going to be using to check out the amygdala and what it has to do with remembering a certain emotional stimuli and how long they are going to be remembering it for. This is going to be the remote we are using, which has 4 buttons to push regarding emotional intensity. If it's a 0, if they push that on the scene, that means that it was not very emotionally intense. Whereas if I were to push a 3, I would regard it as very emotionally intense. Now for the memory portion, we're going to erase this 0, and it will only be 1, 2, and 3. 1 being forgotten, and 3 being remembered. The independent variable of this study is the intensity of arousal felt by the amygdala during each of the 96 scenes. These are then recorded by the participant, with the numbers being 0 for not very emotionally significant at all, 1, somewhat emotionally significant, 2, again, slightly more emotionally significant, to 3, very emotionally significant. As you can see, they're just finishing up their tests now.
Later.
Now that it's been 3 weeks later, we can now measure the dependent variable, which is the memory of each image or scene. This is measured quantitatively. They were given another scale from 1 to 3. 1 being forgotten, 2 being familiar, and 3 being remembered. Now that we have collected all this data, we can now average out each of the numbers, and we can finally find our results. The results were collected after they were given numerical equivalents. The emotional intensity reported was ranked from 0, which was not emotionally significant at all, through 3. Extremely emotionally intense. The level of memorization was also recorded as 1, forgotten, 2, familiar, and 3, remembered. This data was then given an average and then put on a graph. And as you can see by these graphs, the more emotion felt in the amygdala when the scene was recorded in the brain led to better memory of that scene when they were tested later.